Welcome to another episode of Jumpin In The Pot. I'm your host, Marcia. Today, let's see what we are going to have jumping in the pot. Today, we are going to make a spicy spare rib dish. BBQ spare ribs. This is the spare rib that I have already washed in apple cider vinegar, rinsed 3 times within cold water. This is the spare ribs. Let's put it over here until I tell you about the rub I'm going to put on the spare ribs. This is the rub here that I've already mixed up to rub on the spare ribs. Now, this is what is in the rub. A half a teaspoon of white pepper, a half a teaspoon of sage, dry sage. Sage and pork go delicious together. And also, I wanted to say, if some of you don't eat pork, you can make this dish with beef ribs also. And you can put a half a teaspoon of salt, sea salt, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of chili powder, a tablespoon of onion and garlic powder, a tablespoon and a half of smoked paprika to give it that smoky flavor, and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. These are the ingredients here that I am going to rub on the spare ribs. Now you take it and you put it on the ribs. This is a nice, tasty recipe for the 4th of July, which is coming up soon. Massage it into one side of the ribs and also on these 2 pieces here that I have. Massage it through. Okay, now you flip it over to the other side. See, I cleaned it already, all the membrane and everything off. I pulled that off earlier. This is the rest of the rub. You put on the opposite sides. You massage all that in to the rib. Massage it in. Now, you're going to cover this and let it marinate in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. The next step is, after it was marinating in the refrigerator for 2 hours, I have taken it out. This 2 hours has passed. The next step is get some apple juice. About 1/4 cup of apple juice. I think I put a little bit more. I have 2/3 cup of apple juice. Now you take it and pour it in the pan where you have the ribs. You try not to pour it over the ribs because it'll wash off the marinade. So the next step, you see, let's take a closer look. There's the apple juice in the marinade. The next step is you have to turn up. We're going to do this in the oven. This is a barbecue you can make on the grill, but it's for those people who doesn't have a grill, outside grill. We can do it in the oven. We are going to do it in the oven today. Put your oven up to 375 degrees. Let the oven heat up. And then you turn it down to about 325. Now we're going to put foil over the ribs. We're going to cover it with foil paper. Now this is going to put into the oven at 350 degrees, or maybe 325 to 350. It depends on your oven. We're going to bake this covered like this for about 2 hours. Now that it's been cooking in the oven for about 2 hours, the next step is taking it out the oven, and this is how it looks after 2 hours. This is the rib after 2 hours. See, it's began to come off from the bone. You see? Now, the next step. We are going to take this rib and put it on a rack. Then we're going to brush a barbecue sauce on the rib. This is the barbecue sauce I'm using. You use any barbecue sauce of your choice. 1 cup. And then you get some hot pepper sauce. A 1/2 cup of this. You mix the two together. So that is the next step we're going to do. Okay, this is the rack we're going to use to put the rib on. This is the rib. Okay, this is what we do. We take the rib, we place it on the rack. You take the barbecue sauce of your choice. It's about a 1 cup. Take the pepper, hot sauce. pepper sauce. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mix the two together. The barbecue sauce of your choice and the hot sauce, hot pepper sauce. You mix the two together. Remember, this is spicy barbecue ribs. And you're going to take a brush. Let's come a little closer. You're going to take a brush and you're going to brush the ribs. In here, I pour the juices from the ribs. And you can also add a little bit of this to the barbecue sauce. That came from the cooking of the rib. When I removed the rib out of the pan, I poured the sauce that it made on the ribs. We're going to coat each side of the ribs. Okay, you take the rib, you flip them over like this onto the rack. Now you do the same to this side. Paint the sauce onto the rib. Brush it on. Brush the ribs. You're going to do this one more time. You're going to let it cook in the oven for another 15 minutes. Then you take them out. Then you do it again to both sides. I think that's well coated. Take a look. The ribs. Okay, the next step is we're going to put it back into the oven for 15 minutes. Then we're going to take it out and brush the ribs again on both sides. Well, it was in the oven for another 10 minutes. The first time was 20 minutes, and now I put it in there for another 10, and now the ribs are finished. Take a look. See? It's hot. This sauce here, you can use it and put more on your ribs if you like. Okay, let's get and try. Oh, the ribs are hot. Let's try some. This piece. We gotta let it set. These were pieces that was already cut away from the ribs. This is the rib here. See? And We're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes before I cut them. Well, earlier I showed you when I took it out the oven and it was in the pan, the baking pan on a rack, and I showed you that it have to rest for 10 minutes before I cut it up. So after 10 minutes, and I also showed you that I tried a piece and it was quite hot. But anyway, now I've cut it up. This is the rib after it was resting for 10 minutes. I've cut it up. You see? This is the finished product. Let's try a piece of the finished product as it have cooled some. Very tasty. Quite delicious. Quite delicious and very tasty. You can taste the apple juice. You can also taste the rubs that I made and rubbed on the ribs. And it have a slight smoky flavor from the smoked paprika. And you can taste a little bit of the sage. Because like I said, sage and pork go well together. They complement each other very well. And if you're not, like I said, if you don't eat pork, you can make this even as beef ribs. You can make it, you can cook beef, spicy barbecue beef spare ribs. But I have spicy barbecue pork spare ribs. This is the finished product once again. And if you like what you saw today, please subscribe, give me a like, and share. See you in the next video. Bye.